What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another live picks, preview, and predictions video for UFC 311, the musical chairs card to start off the year. As far as starting off the year pay-per-view wise, it wouldn't be a UFC pay-per-view event without some musical chairs. Let's dive right into it because in less than an hour, we are going to stream and cover Aris FC 28. I'm a little depressed this morning, folks. Aris FC is no longer on UFC Fight Pass.
Emotional damage.
So if you know a place to watch it, let me know in the chat. Anyways, let's get to the first matchup here. What's up, Thal? What's up, Sean Mooney? What's up, Scott? What's up, Sis? Might be a little less interactive in this picks and prediction stream than I usually am, guys, just because we gotta fire through this card because like I said, I want to cover Aris. Hopefully there's a way for us to watch it and pay for it in North America because this is a sad day. Good to see you, Kyle. Good to see you. Hey, what's up, Kaylee? Good to see you as well. Let's get into this one. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. I mean, two really good opponents, or really good fighters, opponents in this case, to open up the card here. Tagir Ulanbekov, 15-2-0 as a pro up against the undefeated Clayton Carpenter, who is 8-0 as a pro. He is the underdog at plus 260. Tagir, the favorite, at minus 325. Tagir is 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak. And he's a very tall, very lanky flyweight. 0 KO TKOs, 9 submissions, 6 decisions. 4-1 in the UFC, 4-1 in AMC, 3-0 in guerrilla fighting. Beat Cody Durden, Nate Maness, lost to Tim Elliott. Actually, no shame in that, especially few years ago. Tim Elliott still tough to deal with, still crafty veteran, tough to deal with. Alan Nascimento's a good win. Bruno Silva, and on the regional scene, won his fair share of titles. Clayton Carpenter, out of the MMA lab. So both these guys out of 2 really good gyms, really good teams. 2 KO TKO, 4 submissions, 2 decisions, 3-0 in LFA, 2-0 in UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series, and what a win against Lucas Rocha in his last fight, submitting him, no less. Edgar Chavez, tough-ass opponent as well. That's a really good win. 4-1 guy, I mean, well, whatever. And honestly, before kind of entering the UFC, didn't really have that many big name wins, but had a very, very good amateur career where he went 6-1, only losing to Reyes Cortez, who's a decent regional fighter at this stage. I am going with Tagir Ulanbekov. I mean, I'm full disclosure, I ain't picking too many dogs here today. I don't think that they are howling as much as they were howling on Fury FC 100. Clayton Carpenter, I don't think he's incredibly well-rounded. I think he's very good at employing his wrestling in mixed martial arts, and against someone like Tagir and someone with the frame that Tagir has, given that he's got a mostly wrestling background as well, but who could probably still land the better shots at range on the feet. I think Tagir will beat him whether it goes the distance or he finds the submission. If it does go the distance, I think just he'll do more damage. He'll land more strikes in the end than Clayton Carpenter, but there should be some good scrambles in this one, given that they are both very good grapplers. So going with Tagir Ulanbekov on this one. Whatever exchanges occur on the feet will likely be the difference maker, in my opinion. Hey, what's up, Ben? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, your kid's not going to college, but that's okay. That's okay. No fight fans' kids are going to college who bet the way that you do, my man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ishan watching Isha. Look at that. Look at that. I've met an Ishan before, but I've never met another Isha. But look at that. Shout out to you, Ish. Ricky Turcios against Bernardo Sopaj. I love watching Sopaj fight, man. He is sick. I know a lot of people are pretty much only know him for getting knocked the fuck out by Vinicius Oliveira with that flying knee, but I think a lot of people forget that fight was actually very competitive leading up to that. Very, very good striker, very, very dangerous striker. 11-3 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Only 24 years of age, up against Ricky Turcios, who again, kind of a fun personality. No, I'm saying, but and was I believe like a lot of people were rooting for him on The Ultimate Fighter. It's just he's not dangerous. He's not that violent in the cage. Throws a lot of shots at air. Very much a point fighter type of guy. Yo, what's up, Cricket? Good to see you. 12-4 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. 31 years of age. Has gotten lucky in some decisions, just looking busier, but again, just doesn't do a lot of damage. He's good everywhere, not really great anywhere type of fighter, and he's not dangerous as well. What's up, Fighters Club? 3 KO, 2 KOs, 1 submission, 8 decisions. 2-2 in the UFC, 1-0 in Bellator, 0-1 off Contender Series. But then, yeah, he won the Ultimate Fighter. Lost to Raul Rosas Jr., beat Natividad. Honestly, yeah, he way too close to a fight against Zahabi. I mean, Zahabi, he wasn't throwing anything at Zahabi. He was just throwing at air. Beat Brady Highstand. Highstand was a lot more green at that point. Yeah, I mean, overall, kind of a fun personality, but Sopaj is so much more dangerous, dude. So much more dangerous. 7 KO, TKOs, 3 submissions, 1 decision. I believe he'll be able to keep this fight on the feet. I believe he'll be able to out muscle Ricky Turcios if there are scrambles or if Turcios tries to hold him up against the cage. And I think if they get in a straight boxing match, Turcios might be able to control range a little bit, but I don't think it's going to matter because he throws these muffin pitter-patter shots. And if Sopaj lands clean, he'll likely crack him. And he's beaten some good opponents on the regional scene as well. So yeah, going with Bernardo Sopaj. Very good boxing, by the way. Very good boxing. Moving up the card, we got Rina Nakamura up against Muin Gafurov. Now, Gafurov, a veteran in the game, has fought in multiple high-level organizations. Out of all the Tajikistanis right now, he's definitely my least favorite. He's definitely the one that, despite having more experience, is not that highly ranked, in my mind anyways. 19, 6-0, 28 years of age. He's a very big underdog in this one. Man, wrestlers in MMA just seem to get like these crazy odds. 29 years of age for Nakamura. So I guess no like spring chicken, but as far as his experience in mixed martial arts, definitely still a prospect compared to that of Gafurov. It's crazy that he's like older, yet he's the prospect, but hey, sometimes that's how it works in this game. Undefeated. Again, talented wrestler, very talented wrestler. Japan does produce some pretty damn good wrestlers. Has some power in his mitts as well against lesser strikers. He can knock them out. He's got that wrestling power, but only 1 submission. 3 decisions. If he is employing a wrestling forward game in the cage, he's likely just going to ragdoll you and control you versus actually like go for the submission. On the feet, though, he'll swing. He'll swing either to set up the takedown and then land clean and not necessarily need to go for the takedown at that point. Or again, like I said, against lesser strikers, he definitely can be dangerous on the feet. Good win against Carlos Vera. Good win against Fernie Garcia. Absolutely knocked Kazama the fuck out. And look good on road to UFC as well. I mean, he got 1 key lock. He has the right overhand. The wrestler special, baby. The wrestler special. Muin Gafurov. I do think as far as a guy who's, again, okay everywhere, not great anywhere. Like this is actually a good like experience opponent test for that of Nakamura. So I don't mind this matchup at all. And he's never been knocked out. So let's see if that big overhand lands. Let's see if it affects Gafurov. Like it has affected Nakamura's opponents in the past. And Gafurov does have some punching power too. 10 KO TKOs, 7 submissions, 2 decisions. So he does have finishing ability. A lot more finishing ability than he does winning decisions, as he's lost 5 decisions. 3-3 in 1 championship, 1-2 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, and 1-0 in ACB. What's up, JVD? It's just recently he hasn't looked good against good opponents, right? Beat or Ho Kang Hyung, who is 19-10 coming into that one, lost to Said Nurmagomedov, lost to John Castaneda, who, again, John Castaneda doesn't necessarily have a lot of punching power either. Good boxer, decent footwork, and okay takedown defense. But I would kind of rank them around like the same level, and that's no disrespect to the Minnesota boy, John Castaneda, but still, you just look at his record recently, anyways, and he just has not. And you know what? Even going through his past opponents as well, a lot of the time when he takes a step up in competition, he just can't do it. So I am picking Nakamura in this one. I don't think minus 600 is necessarily warranted. And that's not to say that I just count his wrestling at all. I just think that he'll be able to control Gafurov, but I don't think he's going to be as dangerous as the odds suggest here. Both of them have finishing ability, so maybe it's one of those where we see a short fight because they swing at each other early. One can hope, but likely Rinya Nakamura wins like Cricket Lover said, wins a decision. Next up the card, we have Carl Rosa against Aline Perez. The Argentinian invasion in MMA has begun, ladies and gentlemen, although I don't think she's that good at all. Kind of like in the Nakamura conversation. Not that I'm like comparing their wrestling, but like that's what she leans on to win fights. Her striking is not polished at all, especially if you compare it to that of Carl Rosa, who has been in various wars, has been in some amazing fights, and is a way better striker. Like Perez is not even in the same stratosphere as Rosa. Compare if you're going to talk about her striking, and Rosa is very well rounded as well. Rosa 18-6 as a pro, 3-2 in her last 5. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and it's not like she's been beating the best in her division in her last few fights, anyways. But you could argue that she beat Irene Aldana. That one was a close decision. Split decision against Yana Santos. Don't necessarily like that, but at least she got the win. Penny Kianzad, I mean, you have to beat her at that point, and Rosa beat the fuck out of her in that fight. Norma Dumont, honestly, was another close fight. I do think Norma Dumont won that fight, but like it was actually a really competitive fight. And she also beat Lena Landsberg. I mean, who hasn't at this point? Perez is on a 4-fight win streak. Credit to her. I believe she ripped up, or she's out of the goat shed. I always forget she's out of the goat shed. 4 KO, TKOs, 2 submissions, 5 decisions. Has never lost a decision. She's only lost via disqualification and submission, but she might get beaten up in this one. If she can get the takedown, she'll sit on Rosa for a little bit, gain some control time. But other than that, she ripped up Samurai Fight House, which isn't the highest level regional show. It's Argentina's best right now, so shout out to them. I support Samurai Fight House, and in fairness to them, they are producing some good UFC prospects, but like it is a huge discrepancy on like the top of their respective divisions and the rest. I am going Carl Rosa on this one. She's got good takedown defense, way better striker. Like I said, it's not even close. Way more experience against better fighters. Dangerous on the feet in comparison. And Perez, the only way she's going to beat Carl Rosa is if she straight up sits on her. They should have promoted Payton to the main card. I disagree, because then less people will be able to watch him. He's in the embedded and everything. Moicano going out of the favelas with this one. Doesn't he live in the United States now? All right. Next one, we have Grant Dawson against Diego Ferreira. I forgot that Ferreira was 40 years of age. So, I've been going back and forth on this one. Hey, what's up? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Alhamad, good to see you, my friend. Or Alhamd, good to see you, Mr. Kazi. Hope you've been doing well, my friend. It's great to see you back in the chat here. I've been going back and forth with this one. I like Grant Dawson, but do I think he's as well-rounded as people think? No, I think he's one of those who's like, again, good wrestler. If he can employ his grappling, then he gets that confidence to be able to, employ a striking that has gotten a lot better. but that's not his bread and butter. That's not his bread and butter. And if he goes up against someone who can neutralize or who has better grappling than him, it's almost like he panics a little bit. It's almost like he panics. Loner Signaman Ferreira is too old. Age is but a number in this game, but he does have a lot of miles on him as well. And the weight cut was a little concerning. Diego Ferreira is on a 2-fight win streak right now, 2-3 in his last 5, but he's not been super active. And I feel like when you're getting older, that's a good thing. Recover, get back in shape. It's like the fundamentals aren't going anywhere. It's just the speed. Is he as quick as he once was? No. Is his grappling still there? Yes, we've seen it. We've seen it. Great win against Rebecca. He was able to weather the storm. Now, he took a lot of damage in that fight. He dished a lot of damage in that fight too. But he took a year off. He took a year off since that one. Before then, knocked out Michael Johnson. Took a year off before the Rebecca fight. Actually looked decent in the first round against Mateusz Gamrot there. Was able to at least scramble with him. And took Beneil Dariush, mind you, back in 2021 to a split decision. Grant Dawson, I just don't know if he's at that level. But then there's Diego Ferreira. I don't know if he has declined, if his speed and his reaction has declined as they do as you get up there in age. So this one was really actually tough for me to pick. I went back and forth. Ultimately, I landed on Diego Ferreira, especially as an underdog here. I dropped $2 on him. Let's see if that works out. I do like Grant Dawson, 30 years of age, pretty much in his prime or entering his prime right now. Yeah, I even wrote my notes. Very tough to pick. Grant's very good grappling, has power in his one punches. His boxing leaves a lot to be desired in the pocket for me right now. I think Ferreira's more well-rounded, but he's getting old. Having said that, though, he does have striking power as well. 5 KO TKOs, talented submission artist, and 7 decisions. Never been submitted either. 10-5 in the UFC, 3-0 in Ultimate Warrior Fighting MMA, 3-0 in the former Legacy Fighting Championship, now LFA, and 3-0 in South Texas Fighting Championship. So, is it going to be a noticeable drop-off? We shall see, but I landed on Ferreira. I like him as the underdog. Hey, what's up, Tommy boy? That's what I was saying. All right. Bogdan Guskov against Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana taking this fight on short notice. Usually fights at middleweight, if I'm not mistaken, at LFA. Took this fight against Guskov now that Johnny Walker is out. Guskov's dangerous. I wouldn't say that he's like a polished MMA fighter at the highest level, but he's good. He's good. He's mean. He fights mean, which I like. He's the favorite here, and I think he would have been, obviously, I think he would have been the favorite against Johnny Walker as well. 16-3 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 14 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 0 decisions. He was so much fun to watch, and I know you guys followed him also in Muradov and MMA series. MMA series is such an interesting league. It's like, it's one of those crazy Russian leagues where like there's always drama that happens, but they also like put on some decent fights. Beat Ryan Spann, Zach Puega. Like his last 2 wins were against lesser opponents. I get it. But his only loss in the UFC was to Volkan Ozdemir, which there's no shame in that. Billy Elikana, decently well-rounded, just hasn't been incredibly tested on the regional scene yet. Relatively, as far as experience-wise, Guskov definitely has more experience, more cage time. 7-1 as a pro for Elikana. 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 3-fight win streak. I've watched a few of his, a couple of his LFA fights. Cool to see him in the UFC and get this opportunity. 3 KO TKO, 1 submission, 3 decisions. What's up, New Britain? 2-1 in LFA, 2-0 on PFL. Fought an LXF in his last fight. Got a first-round knockout against a 4-0 guy. 5-2, 5-1. Again, against regional guys, these aren't bad, especially where he's at in his career as well. This is obviously his biggest test yet. He did go 6-1 as an amateur. So I'm picking Bogdan Guskov. I just think he's dangerous. He fights mean. He'll walk forward. It's not like he doesn't have any grappling. Most of it, though, is defensive grappling to keep it on the feet. Excited to see Billy Elikana on a full camp against a more favorable matchup, a more even matchup, a more non-taking this final short notice to save this type of matchup later this year. But yeah, going Bogdan Guskov. Again, super fun to watch in Muradov and MMA series, as you guys know. All right, moving up the card here. Another short notice replacement, ladies and gentlemen. Azamat Bekoev. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure Bekoev was like signed to the UFC before taking this. Like, I don't think he was signed on that like 4-fight short notice deal where like, you know, you burn the one fight and you get there. I'm like 80% sure that the UFC like we're bringing him in anyways. But obviously this fight he took to save this matchup. Zach Reese, 8-1 as a pro. So it's kind of like LFA versus Fury here. 8-1 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Charles Barkley, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. How you doing? How you doing, sir? How you doing? 4-1 his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak. Couldn't finish Jose Medina. Jose Medina, though, a tough son of a bitch. That was just crazy. I'm pretty sure Jose Medina moved up in weight to fight that one. Shorter notice too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was just crazy that like Zach Reese threw everything at the wall there and couldn't take out Medina. Medina tough as nails. Beat Julian Marquez, KO, TKO, lost to Cody Brundage. We'll never forgive him for that. Zachary Reese, athletic, not a lot of cardio though. Big for the division, has power, and honestly has decent scrambles. Like I would say he's well-rounded, but just he needs to work on his conditioning and like his cardio. Because that's literally holding him back. He slows down so much in the second round. And though he's got dog in him to continue to like push forward in the third, you can definitely see it hampers his abilities. 5 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 1 decision, 2-1 in the UFC, 1-0 of Contender Series, and like I said, ripped up Fury FC, mind you, not against the best opponents, like in hindsight, Aaron Phillips, not that great. Be a 5-10 guy, right? And on the amateur scene, he did okay, but he only fought 4 times. Azamat Bekoev, 18-3 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, training out of American Top Team, 6 KO TKOs, 8 submissions, 4 decisions, 3-2 in ACA, 3-1 in ACB, and 4-0 in LFA. I will say, his last fight in LFA where he defended the title against Chauncey Foxworth, we did a fight companion for that one. He absolutely destroyed Chauncey Foxworth. Chauncey Foxworth is towards the end of his career, let's be perfectly honest, but he was on a run there to earn that title shot, okay? He was on a run there to earn that title shot. Beat Dylan Budka again on the regional scene. He looked good, but as soon as he entered the UFC, not good at all. Lucas Fernando is not bad, though. I will say that. It's funny, though. Since he like kind of came over to North America, didn't really fight the best competition, but fought some really good guys overseas. I like Azamat Bekoev. He's got better cardio. He's got that dog in him as well. And I just think overall, with 2 pretty well-rounded guys, he is more polished. So despite him taking this fight on short notice, he's still the favorite, and I'm going with him as well. All right, moving up the card here. Short notice fights are very risky and dangerous. That's why John Jones always refuses to do a short notice fight. All in. Going to be a good card today. Yes. Too bad Eris is not on UFC Fight Pass anymore. That really pissed me off. Payton Talbott, 9-0 as a pro up against Ronnie Barcelos, who's getting up there in age and showing it, right? And showing it. 18-5 as a pro. He is 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming off a win, though, against Christian Quinones. Christian Quinones, not necessarily anything special, but still. Lost to Kyler Phillips, lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, beat up Trevin Jones, and lost to Victor Henry. Overall, I've liked Tony Barcelos' career. He puts on exciting fights, just was never able to get over the hump. And when he like took steps up in competition in the UFC, would lose, but then would kind of go down to that like mid to lower tier competition and just destroy them. So he was kind of like that tweener in between the levels. of the UFC roster. 8 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 7 decisions. Definitely more of a brawler and striker than a grappler. So that actually probably favors Payton Talbott in this matchup because I don't think he'll lean on his grappling that much. 7-4 in the UFC, 5-1 in the old RFA, which eventually merged with Legacy Fighting to create LFA, and 4-0 in Shuto, Brazil. Yeah, I mean, this was a fucking good fight, by the way. I highly recommend you guys go back and watch that fight. Payton Talbott 9-0. The odds here are absolutely insane. These are fucking boxing odds in MMA, which if you guys watched Fury FC last weekend, you'll know they have no place, these type of odds, in mixed martial arts. Despite Payton Talbott probably winning this one, I just think it's stupid. This isn't boxing. 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 1 decision, 3-0 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. And on the regional scene, he fought solid guys who were coming up the regional ranks as well. And in the UFC, he's fought already prospects like him, which is kind of weird. But now taking a good developmental step, fighting a guy with a lot of experience, fighting a crafty vet who's still hungry. So I actually like this matchup as far as from a perspective of like, this is good for Payton Talbott's development because he's been fighting a lot. I mean, Gamori is whatever, but he's been fighting a lot of prospects, regional scene, and upon entering the UFC, and it's like, okay, give him a crafty vet who, is slowing down, whose chin's not the same, but someone that if he beats Barcelos easily, then it's like, okay, you're the real deal, James Neal. You're the real deal, James Neal. I am going Payton Talbott on this one, but yeah, these odds are fucking insane. He hits hard. He does. Yeah, I said this kind of works in Payton Talbott's favor. He has really good footwork. He's bigger. But yeah, I like the matchup for the development. All these young prospects eventually have to face some older crafty vets at some point. Talbot fight seems like a mismatch. Not sure why it's on this card. Yeah, I disagree. I think like Barcelos not being a like straight up leaning on the grappler does like favor him in this one. But I think like I just talked through it there anyways. Money Moicano's on the card, means making money. The real O'Malley. What's good, guys? Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, Lame MMA? What's up, Spinning Bird Flip? All right, let's get to the next one. Kevin Holland up against Reinier de Ridder. The Dutch Knight, Reinier de Ridder, 18-2 as a pro. Kevin Holland, 26-12, one of the most active guys in the UFC, one of the most inconsistent guys in the UFC as well. It depends on how he feels that day, ladies and gentlemen. It depends on how he feels that day. What's up, Vulcan? Good to see you. Good to see you. Reinier de Ridder, very much a grappling heavy style. He leaves himself open a lot against guys who can actually strike. Kevin Holland's a rangy striker who does have power, but I mean, I will say that the power translates a lot more to 170 in my opinion. But having said that, if he cracks Reinier de Ridder, like he is gonna hurt him. Reinier de Ridder did beat Gerald Meerschaert in his debut. It was a sloppy ass fight, and Gerald Meerschaert was getting the better of him in the striking. But as soon as they got to scramble, Reinier de Ridder did his thing. He had kind of a tune-up fight when he defected from one championship and easily got on the back of this guy, UAE Warriors, which again, the commentary was so funny how they literally were saying on the commentary on Fight Pass that he performed a coup and was able to get out of one championship, which is hilarious, was able to break out of Shottery jail. And again, ripped up one championship and the leagues prior to entering one championship, really based off his jiu-jitsu. 3 KO TKOs, again, that's just from ground and pound controlling his opponents. 13 submissions, 2 decisions, 7-2 in 1-0 in the UFC. His only losses coming at the hand of Anatoly Malikin, who's just a much bigger and beefier fighter than him. But a solid career overall. Kevin Holland does have jiu-jitsu. He, again, if he wants to, he can scramble. But again, de Ridder's jiu-jitsu is just better overall. 13 KO TKOs, 9 submissions, 4 decisions, 13-9 in the UFC, 1-1 in LFA, 1-0 in Bellator, 1-0 off Contender Series. Did have a rib injury against Roman Dolidze recently, so who knows if that was fully healed or who knows if it was as bad as they originally thought. Was able to submit Chiesa, but De Ridder is at a higher level than Chiesa as far as the wrestling goes, and was able to knock out Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio is getting up there in age and is getting easily cracked at this stage in his career, although he recovered in the last fight and was able to come back in that one. I mean, Kevin Holland's path to victory is cracking Rainier. If Rainier wants to stand longer than he should, he's just putting himself at risk to get cracked. I think if Rainier Dorito gets the body lock, gets the trip, and takes us to the ground, he will likely submit Kevin Holland, which is why I'm picking Rainier Dorito to win. But hey, Kevin Holland at plus money, hey, bank on him cracking him. Bank on him cracking him. Slit grappling again from De Ridder, and he's big. Like he's big and strong. He didn't really have to cut weight in one championship because he fought at 200 plus. Or I guess it was not 195 plus, whatever one championship's weird weight classes are. So he has had to cut weight for the UFC, but it didn't seem to affect the way that he was able to grapple against Meerschaert. So I think he'll be able to out-grapple Kevin Holland in this one. So picking Reinier de Ridder to win despite his debut not looking super polished. Jailton Almeida up against Sergey Spivac. What do we got in the comments here? Holland will turn up wanting to show the new guy what's up on the UFC. If Holland loses, just absolute trash can. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think he's an absolute trash can. Holland is so inconsistent. Great one night, mad the next. We will beat Holland. I don't think Chiesa was fully recovered when Holland subbed him. Good point, good point. Sergey Spivac, 17-4-0 as a pro. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, which, good for him, man. Because when he came into the UFC, I wasn't super high on Sergey Spivac. Now, he came into the UFC pretty young as well, but has actually gotten better and better. Now, the heavyweight division is tough to gauge who's getting better and better because there's just a bunch of older fat guys at this point. And they each are coming off a win against 2 older fat guys. Romanov for Jailton Almeida and Tybura for Sergey Spivac. Although the Tybura pick I was a lot more impressed with. I believe I picked Tybura to win in that one. But regardless, lost to Cyril Gunn, lost to Curtis Blades. So they lost to 2 guys who were respectively above them in the heavyweight rankings. I don't like Jailton Almeida's style, especially since he is a boxer. Yo, what's up, Jeremy? Good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Especially because he's a boxer turned grappler and just has abandoned the striking altogether. He's looks like he's scared to strike. Okay, but again, I can't blame him if your grappling is that good and you're that strong. You're gonna do what you got to do to get those wins. He's the heavy favorite in this one at -470. Both these guys are at 230. They weighed in at around 230 pounds. So I kind of dig that. It'll be interesting here. 7 KO TKOs. Yeah, I'm always surprised every time I look at that too. 13 submissions, 1 decision, 7-1 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. And again, Derek Lewis, B. Rosenstrike. Couldn't submit Derek Lewis though, despite being in full mount for I believe it was like 13 plus minutes, which like for fuck's sakes, man. But like overall, I have not been impressed with Almeida. He's very much a one-trick pony despite having more tricks up his sleeve. Sergey Spivac, again, overall not insanely impressed with his career thus far in the UFC, but 7 KO TKOs, 8 submissions, 2 decisions. If they neutralize each other's grappling, because Spivac is a talented grappler, if they neutralize each other's grappling and this is on the feet, I mean, do I give the slight edge to Spivac because Jailton Almeida just has not been testing his hands in the UFC as of late? I slightly do. 8-4 in the UFC, 6-0 in World Warriors Fighting Championship. I mean, Spivac was able to submit Derek Lewis. Man. I'm going to pick Jailton Almeida. I think that him being this much of a favorite, I don't know if I like that, but I am going to pick Jailton Almeida. Like I said, more impressed lately with Spivac's win run. Both of them have good grappling. I just think that Spivac chases the finish a little bit more, whereas Jailton Almeida is comfortable with just amassing control time. Again, he should be able to employ his boxing. He just doesn't. Both of them weighed in around the same weight. A boxer turned crotch sniffer, baby. But again, these aren't two just like overweight heavyweights. These guys are like, at this point anyways, athletic heavyweights coming into this one, but I think Jailton Almeida's athleticism is just going to be a little too much for Spivac. However, let's see who gasses first, because Jailton Almeida does seem to gas if he cannot win the fight first round or early in the second. So this one will be interesting. I am going to bank on the athleticism early, carrying Jailton Almeida like it usually has, but do not count out Sergey Spivac, especially at these odds, man, especially at these odds. All right, featured fight coming up here. Blob versus Hedges. Definitely not as much of a blob as the rest of the heavyweight division. Polar Bear coming. Almeida versus Lewis was a boring fight. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Good morning. This heavyweight could be a banger or could be boring. Lay and pray. Yep. Spivac gets it done. Again, shout out to Jeremy for joining us. Almeida versus Cyril next. I mean, he hasn't won yet. Almeida couldn't finish Lewis while Spivac finished him in 3 minutes. Count it up. There you go. I mean, MMA math though is not real. It's like that man on the plane. He is not real. Spivac has terrible footwork. Let's go. I think the betting odds for that one is a little bit crazy. That's right. Almeida will reign supreme. Yay. All right, featured fight here, ladies and gentlemen. Jiří Procházka against Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill 12-2 as a pro, coming off a loss to Alex Pereira. Coming off a loss to Alex Pereira for Jiří Procházka as well. 4-1 in his last fights, 3-2 in his last 5 for Procházka. 32 years of age for Jiří Procházka, but man, has he had a way longer career than Jamahal Hill. And this is an important thing to note. He has taken so much more damage in his fighting career than that of Jamahal Hill. Jiří Procházka, that with that samurai spirit, welcomes the fucking war, which he was able to weather earlier in his career, but now that chin, man, that chin ain't the same. Sweet Dreams does have actually very polished boxing. Doesn't employ kicks that much. Doubtful that Jiří's going to take him down. Although if Jiří decided to actually grapple a little bit, his grappling is very underrated. For a lot of you guys who watched him in Ryzen, like he actually would employ that quite a bit, to be perfectly honest. Has not leaned on that in the UFC, like, at all. I shouldn't say that, actually, until the end of the Glover fight where he was able to get it done. Oh, dude. Jeremy, you did not have to do that, brother. You did not have to do that. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. You are far too kind. You are far too kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, my man. 7 KO TKOs, 0 submissions, 5 decisions for Jamahal Hill. 6-2-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. He had an easier time finishing Glover, but I do think Glover was like, I think the Glover and Jiří fight was like Glover's last, like, fucking, that last bit of youth that he was able to possess, or maybe Jamahal Hill is just that good in the striking department. And you look at his rise to Glover too. Older Thiago Santos. I mean, Johnny Walker, I think we all didn't think he was as chinny as he was at that point just yet. And then like Jimmy Crute, who like fucking retired after that. Not this fight, but the fight after. He got Paul Craig'd. No shame in that. It's just interesting because you look at Jamahal Hill's wins in the UFC and you're like, they were all against aging opponents. But then like we saw what he did against Glover and we're like, oh fuck, like okay. There's something there. There's something there. Where Jiří Procházka been fighting killers for a lot of his career. 26 KO TKOs, but leaves that freaking head out there to get cracked every single time. And he cannot lean on that anymore, especially with a striker as good and as powerful as Jamahal Hill. 3 submissions, 1 decisions, 11-1 in Ryzen, 4-2 in the UFC. A great performance against Alexander Rakic. I take that back. A performance against Alexander Rakic. He almost got beat. Letting his fucking head wobble there again. This was one of the most fun fights that 2022 had to offer. Great win against Reese. I mean, when he came into the UFC, Volkan still top of his game. Awesome win there. Dominic Reyes, great win there. And then in Ryzen was beating some pretty good guys as well. I feel you. I feel you, Tommy boy. Picking with my heart, not my head here. You're so is so fighting for that cancer patient. Good guy. Absolutely. I mean, I think the odds are fair in this one. I think Jamahal should be the slight favorite given, you know, Jiří's chin and how he fights at this stage. His chin at this stage in his career and how he just fights. I think it favors Jamahal Hill to be able to just snipe him, especially when Jiří like kind of enters on these weird angles. But on that note as well, Jiří's just a tough opponent to prepare for, right? Because he's a moving target. Now his head is a big ass moving target, but he's a moving target nonetheless, whereas Jamahal Hill fights a little bit more stationary, a little bit more just like walk forward and pressure. So it's going to be interesting just to see how this one is fought. Jiří Procházka is an underdog. I'll fucking take him. I mean, I haven't picked too many dogs on this card. I said that in the beginning of the stream. But, you know, I'll go Procházka on this one. But, yeah, Jamahal Hill very, very, very likely cracks him at least once or twice. Whether Procházka can come back, drag this into a war, or employ some grappling, we shall see. It's just he's taken so much damage throughout his career. Jamahal has the power. I guess I'm trusting that Jiří can catch Jamahal before Jamahal catches him with some of those big shots. He could employ some grappling, and that could be a path to victory as well, as that is an underrated aspect of his game. Hill doesn't throw many leg kicks, so that's good because Jiří just leaves his legs out there to be kicked. But I do believe Jamahal Hill's the more dangerous one in this one. I'm just swinging on a little bit of an underdog here. All right, 2 more to get into, guys, and we're making good time here, so I will get back to the comments. Jiří, hey, what's up, Aubrey Travis? Jamahal gonna KO Jiří. Give me the Samurai. I think Jamahal wins despite what people think. Jiří seems, well, he's the favorite, so people think Jamal's gonna win. Jiří seems like a good underdog pick, but Jamahal should win. Jiří possibly could be fight of the night, or that Dawson and Diego. What's up, Cringe God? Ratchet looked great in the Jiří fight, but he doesn't have the dog in him. That's a good point, Cam. It's good to see you. Hey, what's up, Artem? The GOAT, Artem MMA. The GOAT, guys, go check out his channel. Way better channel than mine. He is an actual MMA YouTuber. Go check him out. Jiří loves blocking punches with his face. Yup. I mean, and it's like, sometimes he'll come in where like someone's going for like a body shot, but because of his like weird angles, they'll just like hit him in the face. Again, I really do think Jiří has to fight a mixed martial arts fight to win this one, and I'm knocking on wood that he does. But again, I'm not a Jamahal Hill hater by any means. I'm just here to see a good fight. Again, big shout out to Jeremy, man, with the $5 donation. Far too kind. And it's great to have you back in the chat, my friend. All right, let's get to the co-main event. Anthony Poe, Jamahal doesn't have all that good defenses either. True, but I imagine Jamal's gonna be the one walking forward, right? I imagine Jamal's gonna be one walking forward. Hill, I just feel isn't ready for a dog fight. Like, he's a tough guy, but I think he's mentally ready for that Jiří's definition of a dog fight. Well, I mean, Jiří had a dog fight with Glover. Jamahal Hill made it look easy against Glover. I'm just saying. But again, Glover could have that fight against Jiří could have shaved the last bit of youth from Glover's career. Yo, Idaho, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? What the fuck, bro? There's real MMA YouTubers, but you're the homie. Dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. You guys don't have to do this. Is a picks and prediction stream. You don't have to do this. You guys are far too kind. What the fuck are you doing? This is crazy. Thank you so much. My God. I think the size of the dog in the fight is the size of the fight in the dog. Wow. I don't have any tattoos, but I think that's the quote I'm going to get. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. All right. We got an Eris stream it just started. Not on UFC Fight Pass. We're going to cover it in about 10 minutes, so let's rip through these last two. We got Umar Nurmagomedov against Merab Dvalishvili. 18-4 for Dvalishvili, the machine. He's the underdog in this one, which again, if Merab's an underdog, bro, if Merab's an underdog, yo, what's up, Mikey P? Nope. Nope. Don't fucking get me started, Mikey P. Have you seen me on Twitter today? Have you seen me on Twitter? Good to see you, Mikey P. No, their deal's done. Their deal's done, and I fucking hate my life as a result. Merab, I'm literally depressed as a result. Merab, I've literally asked every fucking person on YouTube what the fuck is going on. All right. 18-4 as a pro for Merab. 5-0 in his last 5 fights. If Merab's plus money, like, are you guys not like just inclined to like drop a little something on him? Because I feel like whenever he's plus money up against a legend or an up and comer or whatever, a big name, he somehow gets it done. But Umar is a different animal, man. Umar is a different animal. Felipe, I'm not reels and Fat Sonic. Good to see you as well. 34 years of age. Definitely did not take him. I don't want to say enough time, but the time he wanted to prepare for this one. UFC kind of got this one going before Umar. Well, again, he's Muslim, right? So Ramadan, the UFC wanted to get that fight in before. And I mean, in fairness to Umar, he was the next guy up. So like, I have no issues with the matchup. And I mean, this is the fight game. This is the fight game. When they call, you got to answer. 3 KO, TKO, 1 submission, 14 decisions, 11-2 in the UFC, 5-1 in ROC. Great win against Sean O'Malley, great win against Henry Cejudo, great win against Piotr Jan, great win against Aldo. Again, not the most exciting wins, but great wins nonetheless. I mean, look at the run that he has been on, ladies and gentlemen, and none of his opponents have been slouches. He wins one way, though. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Smother, smother, smother. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Whereas Umar Nurmagomedov has a lot more tools in his belt. He's the way better striker. He's got incredible grappling defense. And he's just insanely technical. Good at adjusting on the fly as well, as we saw that in the Sandhagen fight, which, by the way, what a tremendous fight that was. That was one of the best technical fights that I've seen in a very long time. I think the odds are fair here. Minus 280. He's the favorite. Undefeated. 2 KO, TKO, 7 submissions, 9 decisions, 6-0 in the UFC, 2-0 on the PFL. And yeah, the Bekzat fight. Bekzat was good. Corey fight. This is the one where I was really like, okay, you are the real fucking deal, dude. You are the real deal. Because Nate Maness went to a decision with him. I thought Barcelos would too, but Barcelos got cracked in that one. And then, like, other than that in the UFC, we've seen why he's so talented. We've seen the talent. We've seen the technicality in his game. But Sandhagen was the one where I was like, holy fuck. Like, okay, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be here. That one really impressed me. I could see this one going to decision. I could see Merab honestly smothering him as the fight goes on, but Merab doesn't have like an ace up his sleeve. He doesn't have a trump card, whereas Umar Nurmagomedov is so good at adjusting mid-fight that I think if Merab is starting to smother him early or finds a good stretch of the fight where it's like, oh, like I if I keep fighting this way, I'm gonna lose a decision, because that's what happens when you fight Merab. I think Umar will find ways to get some damage and try to keep us on the feet or scramble on the ground to get those dominant positions there. So I'm going with Umar Nurmagomedov, but man, this is a good one. This is another big test for Umar. And Merab, I want to say it's another big test for him, but bro's been tested for the last like few years. Against name after name after name, style of opponent. But this is a guy who kind of is very well rounded with a very, very good grappling base as well. So yeah, is there a chance that Merab smothers him up against the cage like everyone? Absolutely. 5 rounds favors the machine, in my opinion. Not that like Umar doesn't have good cardio, but Merab is the cardio machine. Umar has better striking, more tools. In the grappling, right? Doesn't just have smothering wrestling, just has overall a really good grappling game, dynamic footwork, more finishing potential, not a lot of power, but quick strikes, and they're hard to telegraph. And again, that Sandhagen fight really showed me that like this guy's the real deal, James Neal. All right. I agree. I think the Jiří fight really shaved some life off of Glover. He really didn't look the same after the Jamahal fight. I'm rooting for Merab, but I think Umar beats him. If Umar wants to win, it has to be via submission or probably goes the distance. I believe it's a decision on this one. I'm going with Merab. I got Merab. I'm going with Merab, man. I think he's going to make us forget about that name in the cage. People always count him out. He pushes the pace. It doesn't have you able to think, but I could be wrong. That is a good point. The odds make Merab a good small what the hell bet. Yeah. I put $2 on Merab. My completely unbiased opinion that I won't back up. I got the money Moicano over Islam. Let's go, Vexilon. Let's go. Merab unanimous decision, 50-47 rounds 3, 4, and 5. I'm rooting for Moicano, but it's so hard. He has to threaten the back, take, and survive 5 rounds. I feel like Merab's trump card is overwhelming in pressure. See, but I don't think that's a trump card. That is the only thing Merab does. So, like, if Umar hasn't prepared for that, then I don't believe he's actually training under Khabib. Moicano by financial dependency. All right. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I was so excited for Sarukian, but some back issues took him out of this one. And who's there to step up? By the way, poor Beneil. I'm really hoping that the UFC has taken good care of him. What percentage do you think Moicano has? Probably like a 20%, 25%. I like Merab here. Do you think Jiří would be favored in this sport if he didn't take shots, didn't take the short notice Rakic fight? Oh, no. I think he just has amassed enough damage throughout his career that, you know, that's pretty much it. Moicano by free market capitalism. Moicano by plot armor. Benny's done, so the UFC took care of him. He's flush. Okay, I'm glad they did. They did. All right. I think Islam has to break his leg to win. Beneil got win and show money. He's good. Good. Okay. Glad to hear. Got a feeling this is going to be like Islam versus Green. Renato money Moicano, 20 wins, 5 losses, 1 loss. Now, I want to say this. He was preparing for a wrestling style in Beneil Dariush. However, a wrestling style that Beneil Dariush employs is not the same as Islam Makhachev, who is not only just an amazing grappler, strong as fuck, but also his striking has improved tremendously, and we saw that in the Poirier fight. He's the huge favorite in this one, as we all predicted, but shout out to Moicano for saving this main event. He was slated to be the backup anyways, so he did make championship weight. Hey, he's been on a good win streak, man. He's been on a good win streak. He has taken a lot of damage throughout his career as well, and he is no stranger to being dropped with big shots. Basically, Renato Moicano, I think his path to victory or path to making this a competitive fight and being successful is like, get in the pocket as soon as you fucking can. Bum rush that shit, grab the body, try to sweep the leg, and hopefully in a scramble, he can get in somewhat of a favorable position, because if he's on his back, he's going to get smashed. So he has to get into half guard and just try to go to work and just lay elbows, do damage. And he's a bigger, stronger lightweight as well. Obviously, Islam is kind of a whole different animal in that description and that comparison. I mean, his path to victory is his path to victory in most fights. He's not going to stand and strike against Islam. He's got to get in the top position, modified half guard side control, and just start, or side control, and just start doing work there for as long as he can. If he can get a cut on, if he can cut up Islam early, that'll maybe extend the fight a little bit longer. But he is tough as nails, and you cannot overlook that. By the way, like, I'm picking Islam Makhachev to win. I ain't being no hero here. But I will say, Money Moicano is a friend of the channel. He jumps in our live chat quite a bit. He's rated our channel before, and I've talked to him on social media a couple times. So we're rooting for you, and I'm glad you're making that money. Glad you're making that money. This would be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, upset in UFC history if he does beat Islam, though. 10 submissions, 8 decisions, 12-5 in the UFC, 8-0 in Jungle Fight. Beat Benoit Saint-Denis. Again, Benoit Saint-Denis is no Islam Makhachev, but a great win. Jalen Turner, he survived and then was able to beat Jalen Turner in that one. Good win against Drew Dober. Brad Riddell was kind of on his way out Didn't have or had one foot out the door when he fought Brad Riddell. And honestly, he has good wins on his resume. He's only lost to to fucking legends, man, and Fiziev. Dos Anjos, Chan Sung Jun, the Korean Zombie, Jose Aldo, and I guess Brian Ortega when Brian Ortega was actually kind of a surging prospect as well. So his losses in the UFC, no shame in any of them. But again, this is fucking Islam Makhachev we're talking about. 26-1 as a pro, 5 KO TKOs, 12 submissions, 9 decisions. 5-0 in Hank the Tank's favorite organization, M1 Global. Dustin Poirier, Volkanovski twice. Although the first one, Volkanovski definitely dragged him into deep water. Absolutely destroyed Charles Oliveira, which again, man, like that's kind of the fucking Moicano way, right? Absolutely destroyed Bobby Green. But this one was on short notice. Dan Hooker was on short notice. Thiago Moises actually looked good, made it competitive, but Thiago Moises is not the same Thiago Moises. And Arman Tsarukyan on short notice definitely made that a competitive fight as well, which is why I wanted to see the rematch so bad. But if there's anybody I can get excited for and to root for, it's Renato Moicano, but I am choosing Islam Makhachev to win this one. All right. Lock of the card is Islam Makhachev. Safe parlay, because people like that actually, sorry, this segment is brought to you by our friend Volkan. He always wants me to add these to the stream. Lock Islam Makhachev, safe parlay, Sopaj, Payton Talbott, Nurmagomedov. There ain't no value on that one, so that one's just for fun. The degenerate parlay, we got Spivac, we got Elikana, and we got Money Moicano. All right, quickly going to go through the chat, and then we have to jump over to Eris, guys. We got to jump over to Eris. I bet UFC pays Benil his show and win money. Got a feeling this is going to be like Islam versus Green. Also, shout out to Johnny Walker for ruining the second best fight on this card. He did an interview saying they gave him 100K win UFC. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How crazy would it be? Money beat Islam? Not going to happen, but that would be crazy. Absolutely. If Arman was in the one fighting here, who would you have picked? Still Islam. Moicano was scheduled backup fighter for Islam Arman anyway. Yep, Arman eating pasta right now before the weigh-ins and then mysteriously getting injured. Dude, Mikey P, thank you. I said that too. I watched Embedded and I went, oh, fuck. What kind of nutritionist is this guy? But it was a back injury, they said. But I think you're going to carb up like that on fight week and then try to cut weight. Of course your back's going to hurt. It would be crazy. Moicano did a Strickland versus Adesanya and absolutely upset everyone. See, I don't think that's even in the same stratosphere as an upset. Yo, what's up, bro? I don't see Airs 20 on Fight Pass. How can we watch? It's not on Fight Pass anymore. You got to watch on Canal Plus. It's going to be scrappy, I think. Would love to see Moicano win. Money's another great small what the hell bet. Betting 100 to win 750 is good. It's a good calculated risk. Moicano is getting that belt. He came for the belt, not the money this time. He said he's here for the money, but I hope you're right. Moicano has been competitive against everyone. Dude, like 15. Great analysis for everything. I'll be tuning into the live streams more. Hey, thank you, Lame MMA. Thank you. Canal Plus. All right, we're hopping over to the Eris stream, guys. Let me quickly share it here. If you want to hang out for the Fight Companion, you can join me there. Unfortunately, it's not on UFC Fight Pass anymore. I am literally depressed. It has ruined my day. That was my favorite regional show to watch on UFC Fight Pass, and it is no longer there, which is very sad. But it's on Canal Plus now. Fire up your VPN, make a Canal Plus account, and check it out. See you guys for Eris. See you guys for UFC. Thank you so much for joining. We will see you on the next one. Peace. Yeah.